Good morning. Welcome to, hang on, there we go, we're live now. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Outlook. Sorry about this morning. My computer rebooted itself last night. Had a Microsoft update, and don't you just like it when it does it? It reopens everything, so it makes it look like it's not done too much, and then you find that the sound's not working. So I do apologise for earlier this morning if you couldn't hear me. And our day traders in our trading room could do. So Paul, okay, I can talk. The thing is, I've got a question that's already come through on YouTube there. What moves can you talk through how you choose pairs when everything is moving? Well, this morning I didn't actually choose a pair. The pair chose me. I've got an auto trader that's also running at the same time. That actually chose the trade for me. I was scratching my head around a little bit this morning, but because it came up with a signal and it just traded it, that's what we've done this morning. So that's just literally a moment ago come out and hit its target. So it's more difficult, and often I was sitting there prepared to wait a lot longer. I can just show you this is on the benchmark account. There you go, there's a trade. It's just literally closed off a moment ago at 9:01, or it's 10:01 in real time. So it's just closed itself off. So that's the only trade I've been in this morning. I was looking at some things, but let's go through the markets anyway. This is a morning outlook and not a day trading room look, but that's what the day trading room's for, and that's what we discuss in the day trading room. Do join us. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do what do I do first? I'm going to do the Forex markets first. I'll subdivide this and give you some little chapters on the YouTube if you've got a particular choice of what you want to be looking for. But here we go. Okay, but before I talk about the markets themselves, let's just look at the risk events that may be affecting us today in the usual style. He goes through, looks at his, just looking at Forex Factory here. There's not a lot here this morning in terms of risk factors. We've already had the Reserve Bank of Australia Governor speaking at 3:30 this morning. Now we've got, looking ahead, we've got unemployment claims at 1:30. I don't expect them to do a great deal. They've increased the impact up a little bit here to where I mean, these were previously very low impact, but they've shown as medium. In a quiet market, a bit of volatility can come through. Euro, we've got the President Lagarde speaking. I'm not sure when. It's still not been programmed in here. I can't see what time that's going to happen, but she is due to hold a press conference later. Now that could certainly create volatility for the euro this afternoon, so something to be aware of. It might benefit us, it might not. Crude oil inventories at 4 p.m. today. With what's going on with oil, it may be worth a look and watch out for, but really going to affect the oil market a little bit more. Right, looking then at the currency markets this morning and today, and we might as well look at how things are shaping up at the moment. It's real time. Yesterday is sold off, continued, broke down its the prior lows there. It's broken down. It looked to me that, and it looked this morning, and I was saying this earlier on, but you couldn't hear it on YouTube. We could be, and it still can happen. I'm looking at these prior lows way back here and looking at the monthly S1, thinking that's a possibility. This morning it's just turned around. We see this when we get price action through. I'm going to bring this down to an hourly chart. When we see this in the mornings, and it's moved through it, well, actually through the Asian session, it had, to be fair with the euro, just kicked in something a little bit more positive this morning. And if you look down the lower time frames, by the time we got triggered into a trade, it had actually put a higher low in there, so it had to retrace. If I take this down to a 5 minute, there we go. So it actually broke out, it given a higher low, and off it went. So it's waiting for price action. And you ask how you can trade this. Well, sometimes you've got to be looking at, well, the higher lows may be the opportunity to get me in on this position. Otherwise, I'm sitting here with a trend line across the lows there. It's simply waiting for the breakdown and a continuation. In fact, I drew the trend line earlier. But at the moment, well, we've now seen the euro run into its daily R1. Has it got a lot further to go? Well, it's for me, it's done a lot of a day range. It might, and it's looking like it could actually reverse from back where it is. It will have, if it reverses from here, it will have put a lower high in, and it could roll over. Can I get into a trade at the moment? No, I need to. I've just got out of one on the euro. It hit the target from the set system I have. But there will be people shorting into these sort of levels back into S1 sort of territory. For me, I'd wait, and it might be this afternoon before I get into another trade on the euro. If I do, and it maybe at that time might be to the downside. Can I see something more? Unless it does sort of another retrace and starts pushing up, then I might be interested. But for now, it's done quite a bit of range. The pound, I'm going to run through these a little bit quicker now. So the pound sold off yesterday, but bounced back up, ended up slightly more positive, hasn't broken the prior lows here. It's just looking a little bit more positive from that perspective. However, you look at it in a 4-hourly and it's big bearish engulfing yesterday. It's looking weakish, and it certainly hasn't picked up as well as the euro. The price is stepping back. 7 o'clock come, well, if you've been drawing trend lines across the lows here, yes, you might be in a trade here. If you put the stop above the highs in, you might still be sitting there short. In all intents and purposes, it's still got lower highs, lower lows, and it's just looking a little bit softer than the euro at the moment. It may just run down more. Dollar yen. They said this was a real risk-off situation. As I saw it this morning, money running into safety, and the yen was the real beneficiary, followed by the euro. If you look at the euro cross pairs, the euro was doing pretty well anyway. It was backing itself up against the US dollar. US dollar was in sort of third place of the majors if you look at them singularly against their peers. Anyway, yen was the leader, and which suggests to me that there's money is running in some part safety. The US dollar and the yen are both the safety currencies normally anyway, but the US dollar, yen are the safety currencies, but the euro somehow managed to get in the mix there a little bit, and it's seen a bit of that action lately. Getting a little bit more drawn with the US dollar at times. Okay, anyway, where to with this? Well, as I was saying earlier on, might get down to those prior lows, but it has got down to the prior lows now. It's into that 50. We could find some support off this. A break lower would just look bearish. If you look at, I mean, it's gone. This is a mistrade for the morning. If you've lower high bang, it's just broken the lows there. If you had the inclination to take it, it did look soft, stops above the high, but it's unfortunately it's gone now. It's very easy in hindsight to say, well, that's a potential trade. I didn't get it. I was just looking at it. It actually was moving quite quickly. That's the 4-hourly bar. Actually, that was a bit. There we go. It was running. Oh, it'd already gone at 6. That's it. I was looking at it later on, but yeah, 7 o'clock. And 8 o'clock came in. To me, it's already down to S2. So yes, it's gone down to where I thought it might get down to, but I would look for a retrace to sell into. So difficult one, but it's already now. It could be catching a bit more of a bounce. It's what you might do if it does bounce from there. It may be opportunities. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar lower highs, it really has fallen. The market's fallen out of love with these commodity currencies. This is no exception, and it's again run down this morning. 4-hourly wise, again we had that horrible bearish. I say horrible, but bearish engulfing yesterday, showing weakness here. It didn't really do too much after it doing that bar, but it has now stepped down. And again, it went quite early, 7 o'clock. It's not done too much now. Again, I would need some sort of retracement to sell into on this. Okay, finally, Canadian dollar. New Zealand dollar is a very similar case to the Aussie there. Canadian dollar, I was saying this morning. One of our trading room members pointed out the lovely cup and handle. In fact, it's a cup and handle within a cup and handle. Look, you got another play here. whatever it is, it's not near the top. If it had been nearer the top, it would be more interesting, but it doesn't matter because it's doing this sort of ABC move, and okay, we might be having an ABC within the ABC, or 1, 2, 3, whatever. It's just pushing up, but it has broken out on the dailies there and pushed up, continue to push up today. But again, this was going 7 o'clock, 8. It's already gone so far, and all I can do is wait for retracements. What now? Just wait for retracements. If this is going to continue, need to see retracement. I can't get aboard it as it stands. Okay, they're the currencies I'm looking for at the moment, the major currencies. Let me just check on there. Yep, that's okay. Next thing then is to let's have a look at the equity markets, where they started off and where they're going today. Let's pitch onto that. Okay, it's not going to be the equity market straight away. Let's just switch that across to the indices. Looked at the CSI 300. I was saying earlier on, which you obviously didn't hear because the sound wasn't working, but the lower high in this market suggests that Hong Kong, I mean, it's closed now and it's closed down for the day. It just looks like it's probably got more downside to me. It looks soft, whereas a lot of the other markets have a more upside tone. The FTSE here is just rolling back today. Now it's probably done a good amount. Well, I say again, no, this one had actually pitched up above its June highs. It's actually stronger than that the CSI, the Hong Kong market. It's pushed up stronger. It's just got a little bit more strength in it. S&Ps is still pushing up. I know you guys want me to look down at the shorter time frames on some of these markets, but it will take me a whole day to do all that analysis. But S&Ps at the moment, I will come down to a 4 hourly here, just show you it's been pushing up. There are signs of divergence across the highs here. It's today at the moment it's selling off there. We saw the FOMC minutes come out yesterday. They've obviously had a bit of an effect maybe on some of these markets coming through from that. And it is looking a tad softer. Is this going to be the big rollover? Is always the big question on this. And I said my thing is, well, wait until the markets are actually showing us that we're into more of a sustained rollover, because every time we see a little bit of a correction like this is the question we're getting. It's still putting higher lows, higher highs in here. When it starts putting a lower high on the daily chart, then I'll be thinking of shorting it at the moment. I think there's a massive risk in terms of just running on the short side because you've got one down day, or the beginnings of a down day. DAX futures much choppier. It did manage, or it hasn't managed to break the highs back in June. This also is just again, it could be rolling over. I mean, it may be that a couple of these markets are sort of showing the signs. We're seeing that money running into the US markets. The other markets have still potentially got. Well, this to me looks weak at the moment. The DAX, to be fair, coming down to 4 hour doesn't tell me too much more. It's just suggesting, well, there's a key moving average there, which must be the 200 maybe. It looks like it's just rolling out a rollover of that. Well, maybe more downside. Nasdaq, where it keeps on putting new highs in. This is a 4 hourly chart. Admittedly, let's just put the dailies here for a moment, and it's just continuing to push up there. So there's the Nasdaq, and it's even had a little bit of a bounce this morning in the futures. Okay, leave it. Well, there will always be someone wanting to look at the Dow Jones. There we go, the Dow Jones. Now this has done its triple top in terms of the bodies, not necessarily the wicks of the candles, but it's done a triple top. That by itself would have seen a bit of selling coming through. Yesterday we saw it bounce back a little bit. Short term, we've got lower high coming through there, and again we maybe get a little bit more short term correction to the downside. It's a smaller, obviously just 30 stocks. It's a smaller effect of the market, but again, I wouldn't be jumping to too much conclusion. As an intraday trader, you might take the opportunity if one arises of shorting it and riding it down intraday, but bigger picture, I do wonder it'll turn around and go back knocking on that door again at some stage. Okay, let's have a look at just switch to cryptos, and then I'll look at the commodities. Cryptos wise, Bitcoin slipped out this morning out of that wedge. said this, it's bearish. It's a bearish wedge in a downward trend. Where to? Well, it could slip back down. Where to? 29, 28. It could carry on going. We could be putting more lows in this. It's just looking very, very soft at the moment. I'm not going to go into the lower time frames on this. I don't think most people aren't intraday trading it. If you are, well, then you need to do a bit more analysis on it. From a buy and holders point of view, even Ethereum's taken a bit of a knock back today. And yesterday it just near terms put a little double top in, looking soft. Ripple, that's also sold off. Now, some of these markets, well, particularly Ripple, Ethereum might benefit, or Ripple from the new, once the court case is finished or whatever else, might benefit from that. But in the meantime, all of these, they're sort of all very pretty tightly correlated with Bitcoin. They're all looking a bit soft at the moment. The best of them in my book is still remains, or the most bullish remains Ethereum, but even that's rolling at this stage. Right, that's that done. And finally, the commodity markets. As a quick look at gold. So gold has continued its northerly route here, and it's alright. I'm just looking at this pattern here, and it's a bit of a butterfly pattern. It's a you see them at the there is a chance it could roll at some stage, but at the moment it's looking quite bullish for it. It's had a good last 4 hours. Goodness, money's just sort of running into safety. It would look like from 8 o'clock this morning. I would have been looking quite differently at that earlier on. But it's pushed up. Would I have been in that trade? No, but it's gone. How would I have got in the trade? I haven't got a clue at the moment. I'm just sort of looking at it. What had made me look at, with what we had beforehand, if anything, it looked like at some stage it might have broken to the downside. It's doing all right at the moment. As I say, it's double topping where it is. Maybe even that will just ease off and slow down a little bit. We're still seeing like the Forex markets all softening against the US dollar at the moment. Generally strong dollar is weak commodities, but not at the moment on gold. It might, as I say, it might change as the day goes through there. Lastly, crude. So we've seen the cracks appear in the OPEC Plus group, etc. With the UEA deciding to do their own thing anyway, and we're now seeing a bit more of a correction. For me now, this correction it's broken quite a few of its trend lines there. As you come down the time frames here to the 4 hours, it's put the lower highs in. It's sort of just recently put another lower high in. Lower lows, it's rolling over. It's certainly shown a bit more than just the cracks at the moment, so it might be now retracements for me look like an opportunity to potentially sell. Can't do anything where it is at the moment. If it gets back to its daily pivot later on, I'll look at it. Of course, don't forget at 4 o'clock we've got news coming out which could affect it. That might be just a temporary effect and it may be tradable thereafter, but retracements now are looking good for short side for me. Okay, that's pretty much it. Let's just check. Okay, I think that's it. I am going to leg it. I'm going to say have a great day. Thanks, that 4 hours will do. Catch you later. Have a great day. Bye for now. God, dear me. That was a bit of a mammoth one.